Welcome to our final episode this week of War Hero to Superhero, helping military veterans and first responders going over and transforming their lives from the bedroom to the boardroom. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Faust, and hopefully soon we have more hosts because we want this movement to go over and to go from East Coast to West Coast and wherever military veterans and first responders are at. So thank you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, on the Easy Way wall, which you can go take your ideas from just watching to actually making like we do each and every week. Hopefully you saw our episode on the Easy Way Network, also on Roku, and eventually on Podopolo. Him are actually on Twitch. Kind of scary, isn't it? Video games, woo! The video game of life. So you're in the bedroom, and we're going to go talk about your vision in the bedroom because, you remember the early days when you first met your spouse? There was so many emotions, the desire, the energy, the thrills, the wind in your hair, and the nightlight. And then you got married and you're like, whoosh. And it was exciting at first, wasn't it? You were like, yay! And then over time, routines, responsibility, and schedules took over. And what typically happens when that happens is usually within 6 months to 2 years, the honeymoon phase, and vision and dreams and destiny just faded away. Well, you're probably saying to yourself, what the beep happened? You're like, and we've all been there. So if you've been married for more than a couple years, you're probably saying to yourself, what the beep happened? So any of us that are more than 2 years married, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're like, and we don't want you to go over and to get divorced because that's what typically happens. You get the beep, and then as it molds in your head, it goes from thoughts to feelings to actions, results. You both start drifting apart, and the next thing you know, it's like, who the boop are you, and who the boop are you? And eventually, you think signing a paper goes over and solve things, and you're just two totally different people. We at War Hero Superhero don't go and believe that. We think that your marriage can be redeemable. We think that if you start reignite your marriage and your vision in the bedroom, that you can have a marriage from going from surviving to thriving. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your. No, we've done it ourselves because at year 7, we were like, what the beep? And it was a long beep. It wasn't one of those ones that just went for like a couple of seconds. It was a long time. It was a lot of active work. And we're not saying it's not going to be easy, but at least we wanted to reignite and to go over and to help you go over and to start. So how do we infuse that vision and dream and destiny back into our souls, into our minds, into our hearts? Well, we wanted today to go over and at least give you 8 tactics to help to start to reignite the flame, to bring the vision back. Because vision in the bedroom is the most important thing. Because if you don't have vision in the bedroom, your vision that's in the living room and in the boardroom is kind of just a facade in a sense, and it holds on for a little bit. Or the ones that you do have in the boardroom and the living room don't go over and last because the bedroom can snuff it out. And I don't think it's a personal goal that we as spouses try to snuff things out. But when we're not united together with a vision and a front and a dream and a destiny, you go over, and what happens is that it can get naturally smoldered. It's like a fire. If you don't give it oxygen, you don't give it fuel, and you don't keep the flame going, you don't give the kindling that it needs, it goes over and dies. So we're going to try to give you some kindling at least to go reignite it. Now the oxygen is going to be you taking action on these or other ones that you go over and think of. So let's go reignite that flame and give you some tactics to go over and do that. Reignite tactic number 1. Talk until the sun rises. Do you remember going over and doing that in marriage? I mean, not in marriage, in dating. You remember going over and doing that? I remember with my wife, it was like, just 5 more minutes. It became 30, just 5 more minutes. One time it was like 3:30 in the morning and I had to be up at 6. And the thing is that it was just so amazing. Just 5 more minutes, you know. And the funny thing is that we tend to forget why we gave 5 minutes that went to 30 minutes. We need to get that reinvigorated back. So, you know, you're a little older, you're a little wiser. Obviously, I'd recommend some back end going to sleep until that point. Especially if you have young kids, you might need to plan this out and might actually have to go over and get some babysitting. But talking until the sun rises goes over and gets into the deeper things to reignite. Maybe you'll find what you're truly passionate about yourselves, about each other, and about the direction that you want in your marriage to go over and go. So I challenge you to go over and do that. Now, some spouses you might need to modify. The sun rises for my wife a couple hours after sunset, but hopefully one or both of you can be sacrificial to go over and to do that. Or maybe you go talk or get up when the sun rises. Like me, I'm horrible getting up sun rising, but maybe it's me to go over, or a person like you to go over and to get up early and to have that early morning talk and have the early morning, like maybe rise into the day. So whatever way you need to go over and do, obviously, because if you're like, like 87 and you're watching this, it might be a little hard to go and talk until the sun rises up because you might be knocked out for 3 days. You never know. But my dad's like 25 years older than me and he's still like, with energy. So depends on who you are. So that's reignite tactic number one. Reignite tactic number two. Most of us forget this. Go on regular dates. And as you're watching this, you're like, it's September 3rd. It's COVID. How the heck it's going to happen? It's actually pretty simple. You go over and you can go to datebox.com and do your dates at home if you want to go do that. They also go over and do an online version and a box version. You can also just make them very simple. Maybe it's a long walk with a picnic lunch or dinner. Maybe it's just going out to an outdoor fresco place like some of my baby boomers on Blog Talk Radio go over and do. Maybe it's just going over and just getting out of the city. I know most people on Dover Air Force Base are like running away from Delaware. Maybe your regular date is going over and getting out of the state or getting out of the city. Maybe it's driving up to a cliff and going over and watching the sunset. You can still be COVID safe and get regular dates. You don't need to be a baller to go over and to do a date. You can go over and do an art project with this little handy little box. It's that crazy. Look how that thing fades. It's kind of cool with the green screen. It's like, it's half there. It's not there. It is there. Woo. But you can go over and take your handy dandy mind and take a handy dandy object and go over and with a little creativity, you can go over and especially paper and a pen because you can figure out the ideas yourself and start doing that. And not just do it because it's anniversary time and I need to do it because it's my anniversary. Do it on a regular. You could do what we go over and do a monthly anniversary. If you can't afford weekly ones and you have a high-end date life, go over and just do it once a month when the day you got married. We got married December 1806, and I'd say 97 to 98% of those I've gone over and celebrated each and every month. It might be something going out, it might be something we're doing at home, it might be doing something that he or she goes over and enjoys, because it's not just me, but other people. So get those regular date nights. Figure out what your frequency is, but don't just wait until you're quote unquote in the mood, because the next couple ones are going to be a little more challenging in the reignite. All right, reignite tactic number 3: take a vacation. Again, you're saying to yourself, "What? Are you crazy? We're in COVID season, and it's going to get worse. We're going to have flu and COVID and everything else." Vacation is just getting away from the situation. The amazing part is we've been trying to do inside things this entire time with vacation ideas, and we never thought about going outside. So you can go outside to go take a vacation. The vacation rental, the VBRO, is getting pretty popular because people have houses in the woods and cabins and those types of things. And if you do get a chance to get to Mexico or whatnot, and you have a passport and they're COVID friendly, of course, they have places as cheap as $50 a night. So maybe you don't fly there, but you go over and drive there, especially my fellow Arizona people. Again, look at your specific rules and see how Mexico's working and whatnot. And again, John Rankin is a great resource for vacation ideas that are cheap and on the dime and actually COVID friendly. He might be a little busy right now because he's making a move, but take a vacation. Go do something different. Get out for a bit. Like after September 15th, our goal is to go over and vacation on the beach in one of those hotels because nobody's going. So how do you keep a place COVID friendly? There's nobody there. So take a vacation. it really helps to go over and start thinking past just the mundane and how to get that vision up and going, because you can't have a vision in the bedroom if you're always just in the same place. You might need some refreshing difference. Reignite tactic number 4, impromptu day off. Just randomly go over and take a day off. If you work it out with your boss, it's maybe not impromptu to you, but it's impromptu to them, and then you go over and take that off. Please go measure your spouse in this particular regard and their personality style. They might not be more impromptu than you. You might want to give them the flexibility and saying, hey, I might take an impromptu day off in the next couple of weeks, so be ready. I want to be a little spontaneous, but at least want to give you some boundaries, some structure in that particular regard. But an impromptu day can go over and really ignite some things. I did it like last week. Computers were busted. I couldn't get logged in. I'm like, I'm taking 5 hours off. Took my wife out to go to a golf course local over here. That was like the best 5 hours I've had in a long time, especially when everything's like whoosh. Cool thing is, when you do outdoor activities, typically you don't need to go have a mask. So we got to play mini golf and got to see people and got ice cream, but we had the social distancing. So usually your mask is 6 feet, not 60 feet. Could you imagine playing golf in a mask at 60 feet away? No, I don't think so. Again, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it in a gas mask and full gear, and I'm going to sweat it off. So, impromptu day off. Tactic number 5, probably the most bold one I'm going to say, have sex. A lot of times we get caught up in the mundane, and the thing is that we lost schedule and routines and everything get caught up. You can reinvigorate a lot of things when you have sex because you bring dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and epinephrine all at once. It is the dose that you need on a regular basis to go and reinvigorate the mind, invigorate the soul, and reinvigorate the body. Yeah. So highly recommend to go over and do that. If you're not going over and have a regular intimacy frequency, you can go look at our past episodes on techniques and strategies and even learning about your sexual personality style. So go check it out. You'll have to go to other bedroom episodes that you can check them out on Podopolo, or you can check them out on YouTube, or if you just go restream some of our content on one of our stream providers. Twitch is a little new, so you won't go find it, but if you go look at YouTube and Podopolo, where you can gamify your podcast and actually win rewards and stuff like that, that's where you go. So tactic number 5, have sex. And not just once, have it frequently. It's actually good for you. They say sometimes it relieves migraines. Depends on the person. So, don't use that as a caveat to have more. It didn't work for me. I wish it did. My wife said has migraines all the time. I'm like, I'm going to help you relieve your migraine. And she's like, still have one. Tactic number 6. Whoops, wrong button. Tactic number 6, break up the routine. You don't always have to come home at 5 o'clock and go over and do the same thing. Maybe you go over and grab your spouse and go do something different. Go over and maybe break it up a little bit. Maybe on the Saturday, instead of binge day, you go over and do something that's a fun day, or you do an activity, or you can do coloring. Adult coloring helps out. Maybe you go take a class or something, a virtual class, and then date box really helps out a lot to give unique ideas to go over and do. Just break up the routine a little bit. Groupons are awesome. They go over and give some really good ideas really cheap. Have you ever done a scavenger hunt? I'm thinking about doing it. So, break up the routine. Try to go over and do something different. Again, gotta weigh your spouse and those types of things. If you're a spouse like me, impromptu is great. Breaking up the routine is great. Spouse like my wife, or if you're more of a blueprint, you like systems and processes, give them a heads up that you're going to break up the routine in the next couple of days, and just be prepared that I'm going to be doing something different. I don't want to give you the whole thing, but at least want to give you a heads up. So that's reignite tactic number 6. And if you're that spouse that's a blueprint, be a little flexible yourself, because if you have the opposite spouse, which most times we marry that opposite spouse and they become our bedroom partner for life, that's the goal, that they need to do that on a regular basis. Reignite tactic number 7, find a new hobby together. We tend to go stick in the same things and then we get bored. I mean, even my kids, I think of right now, I'm bored. Well, if you're always doing the same thing and you never try anything different, you'll just be continually bored. So same thing in the bedroom, go over and find a new hobby together. Maybe it's a hobby that is in the bedroom, specifically sex, or maybe it's a hobby that you go over and share together in the living room in the sense of your home, or maybe it's a new hobby that you take outside or whatever. I know what recently has opened up for us because of COVID is, taking walks together. She's not running yet with me, but she's walking with me. So, that's been a hobby that's been regular. So we've had those times to have those conversations, to reunite the dreams and the passions and see where you're at. And a lot of times when you're doing something physical together, one or both of the one or both of you will go over and open up, because now you're freeing up that mind and getting that energy, especially when you're doing something physical. The endorphins and the energy comes, and you're breaking that routine or doing something new together. You'll talk about different things, which reunite some dreams. You might find out there's something really passionate, maybe something they haven't done in a long time, that goes over and opens up things. And lastly, change it up. So maybe something to maybe add to your routine and changing it up. Maybe it's yoga, maybe it's prayer, maybe it's meditation, a book club, etc. That to goes over and to reignite things. We don't always have to stick into the same habits and whatnot. Or maybe there's some things with our mind and our body and our soul that we haven't done in a long time. Or maybe there's something new we need to go over and bring into. There's a lot of great apps. There's Calm, there's Abide, there's several other things that you can go over and do. If you have the old Wii or Wii U system, you can do like yoga on the whole Wii Fit board. I remember doing that. It's like trying to go over and sit totally still, and like you look at the screen and the candle stayed on, but if your weight shifted even a little bit, it started to flicker. You're like, oh, it was fun. It made life a little different and everything else. So those are our 8 tactics to hopefully to go over and to get you started on this Labor Day weekend, to start looking at your vision of your life. And it starts in the bedroom, because if you don't have the vision in the bedroom, both of you individually coming together corporately, it's going to be a lot harder as that pours out into the living room with your kids and also into the boardroom, into the next stage and mission of your lives. So our superhero challenge, which we have every single day, is what is your favorite tactic? Or maybe share one of your own with the community. Because again, this is a catalyst for a dialogue, never a monologue. So it doesn't matter if 0 are watching or 100 are watching, the conversation is always most important. So we want to thank you for going over and joining either on Facebook, YouTube, our new partner, Twitch, the Easy Way Wall, or Roku. You can go watch, or you can even watch on Periscope. I want to thank you for going over and giving us the opportunity to get the message out there. If you're struggling with these reignite ideas, every military veteran first responder gets 20 minutes free. Go connect with us on our social media, direct message us. We'll go over and get your calendar link to go over and schedule your 20 minutes. And if you really want to take your marriage vision to the next level, become that marriage superhero on patreon.com, Thrive Not Survive, for $5 a month to go get that started, to empower your marriage so you can flex those muscles to have a vision to go have a legacy of a lifetime. So thank you for joining. You guys have a great weekend and enjoy the 3 or 4 day weekend that you go over and have. We'll see you back in the living room on Tuesday with some new equipment. Woohoo! We might be streaming at 1080p, baby. Yeah. And hopefully another platform. All right. Thanks. Bye.